try to do our little best with Swami's grace and mercy. And before we proceed, as always, I like to invoke the presence of our Lord in our midst and to guide us with every word and thought so that it is a meaningful presentation and discussion that takes us towards illumination. And we have based this presentation on the directives we got from Dr. Reddy about the follow-up after the Sai 100. Last year was a glorious year of various celebrations and festivities, but also of deep inward path, um, going to discover what we are. And we had the wonderful study guide on purity's enlightenment, and then we did 6 months of deep introspection on a theme, and our metropolitan did it on self-transformation, and the Manhattan did a wonderful topic, of course, obviously, with Sarita and all of you. It had to be God is nature, and then we had the other activities like Sai 100 Bhajans, Sai Hours of Seva, uh, 1 million steps towards our Lord. I mean, started by Australia, but other countries took it up. Some of us in New York are still doing it. So it's been a glorious journey. And now, following up on this commitment, uh, we will, it seems four, but in reality, there are so many multitudes of them. So let's proceed with the first slide. Brother Raj, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think first we have to thank Swami for giving us this opportunity, and then invoke Swami to think through me, speak through me,
I
act.
can barely hear you.
Yeah, let me see, increase the volume. Yeah, thanks Swami for this opportunity. Thank the Manhattan Sai Baba Center members and officers to give us this opportunity. I invoke Swami's presence to think through me, act through me, speak through me, and listen through me, and love through me. So, I mean, I, that's a very good introduction. I would, focus on why we have to do this sadhana, right? I mean, we can go on with our merry life the way we are doing, and that the key is to experience the true happiness, everlasting happiness. Godward journey is needed, and that's what Swami had come to tell us to awaken our divinity within each one of us. So with that, that's the reason we have to do this sadhana. This is one of the four ways to get closer to Swami, to reflect life, Swami's teaching in our lives. Uh, we can go to the first slide, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this introduction we have, and Baba had given us four simple yet profound commitments. They are not additional obligations, but gentle reminders to spiritualize daily life, to truly understand what is spirituality. And reflection. And I think we can start our interactive sharing of ideas. And do I see these commitments as duties or as doorways to inner freedom? And here is the essence. Let's see. When we are busy in our lives, do they become chores and tasks we must complete because this is what we are enjoined to do? Or how do we cope with them still joyfully, lovingly, and make this as a pathway, multiple pathways, doorways to inner freedom and deeper spirituality where we are seeing our oneness, no duality, we are God. Well, let's start the discussion. Anybody would like to say anything?
sometimes when we begin a certain practice or forming a habit, it might look like an obligation or kind of, oh, do I really have to do this? For example, But then when we understand that some of these duties or commitments that we take on are really to lead us to understand our higher self, or to open the door within, I guess, is how I see it.
Yes, and I do believe that this also helps us to silence our minds, to be still, to be reflective, and in those moments is when we find the deepest meaning to our lives, our connection with nature, our connection with humanity, and connection with divinity. So, any other comments? Would anyone like to chime in?
Sister Sarita, thank you for that. So, I
You're
mean,
welcome.
whether it's a commitment or duty, the whole idea is to what do you really want? That what you really, really want. That's the key. That if you want the joy and happiness, then you have to, the only way that can be done is to dwell on divinity, dwell on God, the Swami, and teachings, and so that whichever way you can connect and do that. That's why. So I would. I mean, if it's a duty, then you're obligated to do something as opposed to commitment. Yeah, discipline is needed, right? Or one of those 4 Ds: duty, discipline. That anything we do, it's only a commitment. If we do it time after time, only then it becomes a reality. So so all that leads to the last part is a doorway to inner freedom. Only when you have that inner joy that can be manifested, we can share. We can only share what we have within us. If you have anger, that's what's going to come out. If it is joy, that's what's going to come out. Sarah. Please, others make a comment. I think it's very important teaching.
Right. Yeah, I feel without sadhana, without my spiritual practices and discipline, um, every life is dry. I mean, it just makes life meaningful and joyful when I um, attend to my spiritual practices. It just makes me a much more alive human being, and I'm able to see the goodness in the world and in everyone else when I keep to my practice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Rizal. Thank you. That's very important. That
Any further thoughts?
Please feel free to unmute yourself or put on your video too if you'd like to, and do share your thoughts.
Yeah,
I think just
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's about trying to establish a routine and doing these things in a timely manner, not like establishing like a set time to do it, or after a certain activity, like right before you go to sleep or when you wake up, or like some kind of set time. I think that helps to get in the routine of doing these things. The sadhana.
yeah, it's consistent. Thank you, Anjan. Yeah. It's consistency. Like Swami gives example of this man who tried to find water. He dig 3 feet in one place, and then he keep on doing that several places, as opposed to digging in one place 100 feet. So it's going deeper. The whole idea is in the middle paragraph. It's a spiritualize the daily life. What is spiritualization? Spiritual is that connection to higher self, which Phyllis
Yeah, and
Christo.
I would say, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, last point. Sorry. That Phyllis Christo called as high C, and then other people call it different names. The whole idea is to connect to that inner core. So we manifest that Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa, all the true values, the truth, right conduct, love, non-violence, etc. So to these practices are needed on a consistent basis to be of value to people in our life. Saira.
I would like to add here a little bit that people who have rather very busy schedules and at times have to lead very chaotic lives or multitasking, if we cannot do it at the set time that we have intended, I think the Lord is very forgiving, and we can, as long as we do it during the day and complete it even before we go to bed, then that's fine, and even at times like carry over the next day. So I think that while there has to be consistency, discipline, and duty at the other four D's that Swami talked about and Raj highlighted, so that, and there's also discrimination. So I think when you combine all of them, then we can find a balance in all of these. Now,
Yeah, one more point is that our sensual indulgence and outward activity, doing our work, fulfilling family obligation, all that takes away, drains the energy. So it's just like charging our cell phones. We have to go back to the prayers, all these four commitments or commandments to recharge our inner self, to make us whole. Saira.
Saira, Dr. Zarina, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you were talking about the regularity of practice in the daytime and the discipline it brings us, I value that discipline and the time for reflection. But I think maybe a more important question is not do we make time for spiritual practice, but how do we carry spirituality 24 hours into all we do, so we lead a spiritual life? Might that not be more useful to reflect on?
thank you, Zareen. I think you brought out a very important point about how we lead a spiritual life, and that will come out as we go into the next slides. By the way, I want to tell you that Zareen is my very dear cousin, and she's tuning in from Boston. So thank you, Zareen. She's always very supportive, and
Yeah, Dr.
I'm very
Zain,
blessed to have you.
if I may, sorry. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
the whole point is you're right, 100%. That theory is one thing, practicality is another thing. I mean, to the best we can, to be loving and forgiving, and that shows in our actions.
Right.
That's
Right.
what we don't have to do 24/7. At least 8 hours to sleep. So at least to that at that time we're already at peace, so we recharge ourselves. So that's a very good point. I mean, we can talk all we want to until we manifest that quality in our day-to-day life. It doesn't do any good.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter the commitment. You just go through like a parrot and reciting and chanting and doing all the rituals, but the people may not be manifesting peace, tranquility.
And I'm here because I see Veera manifesting it. And really the question was to her, when did it come to you so that you are carrying your spirituality and practicing it automatically? And maybe sharing some of that later.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent question. Excellent. Please, Sister Vera, share.
Okay, shall we go on? I'll do that towards the end if we have time. Yes.
Sorry. Well, welcome to Dr. Zareen, and also thanks. Tom has raised his hand here to share something.
Oh, please, please.
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on what was said about there's like a tension between, because Swami has said both things. Same time, discipline, regularity, from 3 to 6 a.m., that sort of thing. Do that the same time every day. He says that. And he also says at the end of Prima Vahini, for meditation on God, there's no fixed time or place. When and where the mind so desires, then and there is the time and place. So, I mean, they're both important. It's that polarity of the, and I don't really see the question as an or. I see it more as an and. Like these commitments and duties, they are the doorways to the inner freedom. So it's yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like
Thank you.
thank you, Brother Tom. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good point. Maybe move on to the next slide. And I want to say that it's such a rich program, this whole set of commitments given to us. And we have a number of slides, but we're also got to be conscious of the time. So I'll be partly like a traffic cop on behalf of Swami so that we contain all of this within this one evening that we have. Next slide, please. Okay, would somebody read this? Tom?
sure. Number one, daily devotional practice. Prayer, repeating the name of the Lord, and or meditation for at least 15 minutes each day, practiced with intensity. One, pointedness, and unconditional love. And the reflection is, what are my forms of prayer and meditation? Where does my mind rest during prayer or meditation?
Maybe here I would like to just very briefly spell out that when you say forms of prayer, I looked at, and they like prayers of petition when you're asking something. There's prayer for healing, prayer for guidance, prayer for gratitude, prayer of adoration. That's great love and respect and reverence. Then there is prayer of devotion. There is prayer of surrender, and it says surrender doesn't mean that you're weak. It's surrender when you give up your ego, and it's in fact a point of strength. And there is prayer of intercession, when we pray on behalf of others, like in Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan, Yemen, elsewhere. And there is a conversational prayer where we just communicating. And then subsequently we have the mantra prayer. So these are all wonderful forms. And in meditation, we have walking meditation, we have the breath meditation, we have the mantra meditation, we have contemplative meditation. So, or just being in touch, just a kind of a blank, and you try to like just focus in between your eyebrows. So there are a whole lot mindfulness meditation. So those are the points. And where does my mind rest during prayer or meditation, or even outside that? So let's open this up for discussion, and maybe we leave about 10 minutes for this maximum.
One point I would like to mention, prayer is always asking something, as opposed to meditation is listening to the voice of God. And where does my mind rest during prayer and meditation? Meditation, it's all over the place. It's really, I cannot get the 11 seconds which will lead me to moksha.
Raj, could you repeat that? I don't know, but I couldn't hear. Could you maybe come speaker to the mic?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're far away. It's so distant. I'm sure your words are so full of wisdom.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be very brief in my repetition. Prayer is where we're asking something to God. Meditation is when we are listening to God, the voice of God. And then where does my mind rest during prayer or meditation? Not one place, depending on what's happening at that particular time. It's all over the place. I still try to remember Swami sometimes, silent.
Yeah, thank you.
Sister Faith had written, there was a chat from Sister Faith, that the other form of meditation is also the Jyoti meditation, which Swami has given us.
Yes, very important. I meant to include that visualization, and that is, we have this excellent thing of seeing the light before us and within us, incorporating it, and then there could be also visualization for healing, wholeness, fullness, or seeking the accomplishment of a task we have set before ourselves. So, thank you so much, Faith. That's wonderful. Any other comments?
Just sorry, Namasmarana is also a kind of prayer, no? I mean, just meditate on the name of God.
Yeah. Thank you, Amane. That's a very important point. Yes.
Yes, yes. I mean, the definition part is not so important. It's just what the connection to the divinity. That's more important. That's why the intensity is the key. How much the one pointedness, concentration, all that is needed, whether it's prayer or meditation. Very good point. Thank you.
I think, Tom, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, as the universe works, and Raj said exactly what I was thinking about. Like, I think the most important thing is in the quote there about the practice is practiced with intensity and this unconditional love. It isn't. It's a discipline of ourselves, and the mind will wander. We all know that, and it just wanders. But the practice, the devotion, is the bringing it back to whether your mantra or your the delight in the Jyoti meditation or whatever you're focusing on, the name, recitation of the name. So we're not just saying Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram. We're really saying it with that love and that intensity, and the mind wanders, and we say, "Oh, I recognize my mind wander. I bring it back." You know, that it's easy, I think, for me, and maybe for everybody, for any particular practice to become routinized and somewhat, we say, "Oh, I did it. Like I did my meditation." But what is that? Without the love, it's nothing.
Thank you, Brother Tom. Regarding what is my forms of prayer or meditation, listen to bhajan CDs, or even listening to Swami's discourse, or anything spiritual. That is where it is. And then sometime, while walking, I try to remember Swami. So that those are the way I use it, prayer meditation.
Unless there are any other comments, when we go on to the next slide, but always feel free to put anything in the chat or raise your hand on the Zoom. Okay, this one, I just feel that a word says one picture says 1,000 words, and this is very beautiful and so symbolical. It's bearing fruit in a barren world. Of course, our world is never barren if you're on the spiritual path, but it even enhances and makes it deeper and more fulfilling. So, and also, I think a PowerPoint is more attractive when it's interspersed with words and color and script. So go to the next one. Anjan, thank you. Well, we already talked about this, about not by duration, but by depth, one-pointedness. We can go back to this question: how can love make my sadhana deeper. Any thoughts on that?
I think the love there is referred to here is that selflessness, that especially the intercession prayers, we're praying on behalf of someone, really samasta loka sukhino bhavantu prayer, then we are praying for others, not for ourselves. Then when we pray for others, our needs and wants are also included in that. Sarah.
Any other comments?
I think that love is love for God, is what Swami talks to us about. Having deeper and deeper love for God, and that intensifies as our spiritual practice intensifies. It's I think as Raj mentioned, it's not asking and asking and asking. It's just being there and praying. And that, of course, goes into not even just the discipline that we're doing, but any time that we are doing serving, it's the love is to serve with love.
Thank you. Next slide.
May I just add something?
Yeah.
Yes, Sister Faith, please.
Go ahead, Faith. Oh, okay. One of the purposes of our spiritual practice is to realize our own divine reality, which is love. So bringing love into as much of our lives and our sadhana and our practice as possible, of course, will carry us along in that direction. And I'll just echo what others have said. Swami has said that the most important ingredient in our spiritual practice is love, and all sadhana should be done with love. And then I'll also just add the familiar quote for all of us: start the day with love, spend the day with love, end the day with love. It's the path and the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Faith. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to just put in one small word. I think my sadhana these days is trying to sort of, if somebody does something wrong, I don't think wrong about anybody. I try not to think wrong about anybody. But as Swami says, do not make the faults of others bigger. Make your own faults bigger. That way the love that you pour out will pour back to you. I think that is my sadhana these days.
Very good. Beautifully said.
Yes, beautifully said it. True. I mean, a pure heart is all the sadhana. So the less judgmental and negative, then it's better. Thank you.
Next slide, please. Oh, that's again a picture, and it talks about reading and looking at a teaching. So can we go to the next commandment or next commitment? Yeah. Okay. Maybe Faith, would you like to read the second one?
Thank you. Yes. Study and practice one teaching every day. Daily study of one teaching of Swami, reflecting deeply upon it and consciously putting it into practice in daily life. The reflection: which teaching am I ready to live today?
Okay, may I ask you to answer that question? I think you would be ideal for that.
Oh, that's I read short passages every day from Swami's books, and these days I'm reading Prashanti Vahini. Let me see, which teaching am I ready to live today? It's the awareness of his omnipresence, the awareness of the divine as being, I'm going to say, the essence of every person and all of this created universe. I think that's what I try to focus on most these days, seeing God in everyone and everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent
Thank you, Sister.
for all of us, and we'll try to put into practice what you've told. We'd like to hear from some more devotees here. We have a large group, so maybe you put on your videos, or if possible, if you'd like to, then we can have a more closer interaction, or just come up with your comments or observations. Amine, would you like to say, or Kuko, something more? Lizette?
Yeah, the daily study, as Faith said, I also, I have Baba's book, Baba Speaks, I open, and usually it's exactly what I'm thinking. I have the answer, and yeah, it's just being in contact with the teaching of Baba. And there is this big, like an encyclopedia of that I bought it in Puttaparthi, which also is very, very good. I mean, very interesting. That's for you. I don't know if you know this dictionary. I mean, it's like a dictionary, encyclopedia.
Oh, that's interesting. In Farsi?
No, in English.
In English. Ah, okay.
Yeah, I bought it in Puttaparthi.
Okay.
Which teaching am I ready? Sorry. The teaching I'm ready to live today? Less gossip and be positive and speak softly. Be happy, radiate the smile. All those daily applications.
Right.
Yeah, Lisa?
Yeah. I guess, we're in the end of the day right now. But throughout the day today, I noticed I was feeling kind of gloomy, and I couldn't figure out why was I feeling gloomy. Nothing happened, nothing. So I just figured, like, the mind gets into sometimes, I don't know, into these thoughts that I'm not even aware of, and puts me, it puts one in a different state that sometimes you're not even aware, what's causing it. So I started to. So my prayer today was, I'm not my thoughts. I just kept saying, because I felt this gloom, but I couldn't put my fingers on it. So I just kept saying, I'm not my thoughts. I'm a reflection of Swami. I am Swami's child. I just kept repeating this throughout the day. I'm not my thoughts. It's just residue. It's just mind residue. I just kept saying this to myself. And then, the day went pretty well, and because I was reminding myself, not to go with my thoughts, So that was my prayer of the day.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say that for me, and I think it may help you all, which I just want to share, is the two guiding key sentences which are so predominant. Love all, serve all. Love ever, hurt never. So these are my cardinal points, which direct every day, all of my life. And of course, then there'll be other thoughts here and there, which may be, or teachings that may be very relevant. But these two are the main track which I'm now trying to follow as consciously as possible. So, just the thought. They're beautiful. Just those two lines are fantastic. Anyway, any other thoughts?
So I have a question. Where do you find the one teaching of Swami that we study every day? Like Satya Sai Speaks or one of the Vahinis? Or it can be anything, right?
Anything.
But which one do you recommend to start with?
You're asking me?
Or anyone.
Okay, so let others answer.
Let me answer that for a moment. You know, his quotes are everywhere. So, like every morning when I'm praying, after I finish my prayers, I open a book which my father gave me about 50 odd years ago. And it has got quotations. And I open a page, and whatever the quotation comes, I keep that in my mind for the whole day. I try to keep it. It's not that it always is, but I do try to keep it in my mind. And the name of the book is At His Lotus Feet.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Anjan, I don't.
You can try and get a copy of it. Yes.
Anjan, I don't use a particular, Vine or book or anything. When I'm just, so I Google Swami's teachings. Always there's hundreds of things pops up there. Sometimes I used to post a lot of Swami's picture on media, and then I would find a appropriate quote for that. That's how I got used to it. So I think the another important Swami's teaching I try to imbibe is to forgiveness. Forgiveness, acceptance, especially when people close to you hurt my feelings. Then find a way to forgiveness. Swami talks about forgiveness is divine. So that's another thing. That cleanses all the negativity. Sarah.
Yeah, good.
I thought that even the thought of the day is, gives us teaching or guidance.
Excellent idea, Sarita. Any more suggestions? Otherwise, we go on to the next slide. Lizette, may I request you to read for the group?
Okay, yes, thank you. 3. One service activity every day. Performing at least one act of service daily, such as helping those in need, serving the sick, offering kind thoughts, sweet words, or sincere prayer. Reflection. Do I serve joyfully without expectation?
Okay.
When it says one service act every day, does it mean like just in our daily life we have to act like we're doing service, or?
Yeah, I read the original, and it says there's this letter from Dr. Reddy. It's both. It came in this pictorial form with all these white pictures which we have reproduced with the wording, but also the letter. And of course, our whole life is supposed to be every day is an act of service. But in this specific cases, like consciously do something, like I said, go out, speak to somebody who is lonely, or call, or make some deliberate effort that way. But in a way, for all of us who are on the spiritual path, our life is one of devotion and service to others and nature, animals, plants, trees, everyone. Yeah, Aarti, wonderful. So nice to have you and hear you.
Hi, Ramveer and Raj Uncle. Thank you so much. I thought I would answer some of Anjan's Arjun's questions, how I see it. I'm sorry I didn't answer the other question, but is it okay if I answer both about the reading Swami's literature and
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm guessing if you don't have hard copy books, Arjun, one thing that you can do if you're somebody who likes digital, there's the Eternal Companion monthly magazine, and you can just read those issues because they have a discourse in every single issue, and they have a lot of stories and stuff. And if that's if that's a way you like to consume content, you can do that. And it's accessible to all of us because we get the PDF in our emails. And you can read at your own pace. So that's one idea I had. I have a lot of hard copy books, so I'm not very good with reading PDFs. So unfortunately, those Eternal Companions I'm struggling with reading those, even though they look really beautiful and very, I don't know, I have a hard time. So like somebody said, I have a book called Sadhana, the Inward Path. We get our quotes of the day. I have conversations with Bhagwan. She said, "Sai Baba, I can just open any page and there's something very interesting in it." And the different Vahinis, like Faith is reading. So since I have so many books, I'm a little scattered, unfortunately, and I just open any book in my library to just see what the message is for myself. But if you have something that you can read religiously, like regularly, like even say like the Ramakatha Rasavahini, if you're interested in the Ramayana story, you can read it like a storybook and go in order, like a proper order to read like that. And it will be enjoyable too. And it's Swami's literature as well. So those are some ideas I had for, the keeping up with that. As far as serving, in a practical sense, I live at home, so I think just serving at home counts as well. I have two parents, and I try to always help out as much as I can, and just help with like chores, the daily activities, be of service at work. It's just spiritualizing your daily activities as serving. I don't have the ability or opportunity to go to service projects. And I don't, I think it's recently I watched a video of Satyajit Salyan speaking, and he gave a story how he was watching people doing like VIPs doing really big seva projects, and he felt like he was doing nothing, just a very small thing to do with the trust or something like that. And Swami chided him and said, "Bad boy, bad habit, never ever compare yourself to others. So you don't know what karma they are incurring when they're doing the service. Maybe they're having too much doership. I have no idea what that means, but you do what you can in your daily life with the people that you interact with, and that is, I think that's serving joyfully without expectation. You can apply that there too." So,
Thank you, Aarti. Those were very profound words, but I think I go back to the chat and I see Tom put in something, and then we read what Faith has said. Tom, can you just quickly read what you said, and then Faith can read out her own chat? Tom?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wrote in, for me, one I've been working with and loving recently is, because he said, keep ever in your memory what I'm about to tell you, and it's the one we probably all know well. I'm God, I'm not different from God. And it's in the chat to read the whole thing, but the important point I wanted to make was there are many ways to take up the practice, and I do the open book, just open anywhere, and something pops always that seems just right. And I also do the like pick one thing and live with it for a long time, and make it go deeper and deeper. So I'm not jumping. I think they both ways are, they're different facets of deepening our sadhana, deepening our sadhana. There's no one way that lasts forever. I think that's what.
Thank you for sharing that. Very good, meaningful.
Yeah, I forgot one thing I wanted to add in there too, and that is like with the at least one act of service here. That's just like priming the pump. When I was a Cub Scout, they give you a little bobcat pin, and you can't turn it over right side up until you do an act of service. So it's like, oh, right away you're helping someone across the street. But that's just to get a start. I think what we want to do is develop attitude and a proclivity to serve. It's like anytime the opportunity makes itself present to us, we can help. So it's living with that is what we're shooting for.
So true, very true.
Thank you, Brother Tom.
Faith?
Yes, Sadhana, thank you. I'm just going to add to something that Tom said. These 5 statements that begin with the words, I am God. In one of his talks, Swami said, do not fail to repeat this 10 times a day. So that's, that's the importance he gives to it. And I also agree completely that living in a spirit of service is what all this is about. And I do pray to Swami at the start of the day to bless me to love and serve, and I watch for his guidance. And it may be, I'm not going to say is it small or is it large or anything. I'm just going to say that I'm very, very grateful that he guides and answers the prayer. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Falguni, I think you've come up with some good ideas. Would you like to read your chat, please?
Sure. Offering kind thoughts of thoughts to those who are victims of violence, praying for happiness of all mankind, like Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, and those who can't be out in the community, due to various reasons, they can do remote sessions if they are a Reiki master or something, doing a distant Reiki healing sessions, or just sending them healing energy.
Right, very good. Yeah, everyone needs it, and particularly those who are, as you said, in war zones, in disasters, natural crises, just hunger, starvation, even without any critical calamities occurring in their lives. So just even the thought of giving out our love and prayers to others is an act of service. And as we say, we lead a life of service. Do I serve joyfully without expectation? I think, yes, mostly we all do. Maybe we go on to the next slide, please.
Here, I was just going to mention, following up on what Arti said, one of the things Swami has actually said is that service begins at home. We have to, we can serve at home and then we go out and serve. If we forget what we have to serve at home and run out to serve others, I think that's where Swami has also chided some people for doing that.
Absolutely correct. And that's why they say charity begins at home. And it's the usual common dictum of our human life. So thank you for bringing
exactly, yeah. And like offering, prayers to the sick, we have a couple of our own devotees who are right now not well in the hospital, so we can send prayers, right? Those are it's service.
Thank you for all those thoughts. I think service begins at home. That's where I.
Sorry, Raj, couldn't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
Raj, it's very, very difficult to.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, come closer.
Yeah, okay.
It fades out. I think when you're moving your head away, your voice fades.
Yeah, sorry. No, I cherish all the comments everyone made. It's important, charity begins at home and service at home. Now with the very big extended family, that's where my service is committed to. And then, of course, saying thank you is important. That it's many times people don't appreciate the hard work put in by people who are helping us. So, and also like today I gave up my seat riding from Brooklyn to Manhattan. So that brought a joy to the person. Like that. There's so many little things you can do to which everybody does. Saira.
Thank you. Yes, that was very nice. Even the littlest things and being at home. And maybe with that we go to the next slide, which is the fourth service and a very fourth commitment. Yeah.
Sorry, talking about prayers. Sister Margaret is unwell in the hospital, and she did ask for prayers. Sister Nita is also in the hospital. If we can, all of us who are here, if we can pray for them while, in our prayer time, would be wonderful.
Sure. At the end of this session, also, like when we are having the prayers, we can dedicate to them, and as we're saying the Om Sai Ram 3 times, any occasion, all the time.
Yeah,
Sure. Thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, they didn't mind mentioning it, so, and in fact asked for prayers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And if there's any time anyone needs our support, and this is like one of those forms of prayers when we said petition, petitioning on behalf of others. Okay. Nice. Yeah, Aarti, yes.
After I was done talking, I had one more thought that I forgot to share in terms of reading Swami's words. If you like different modes, also nowadays I noticed on the SSIO YouTube channel, they are showing like around 10-minute clips of Swami's discourses on different topics, and they seem to be releasing a lot of them lately. There was one on forbearance, and there was one on purity, and just like I think they keep coming out with it, and they're doing a good job of making the audio sound really nice, and you can read along when you are listening. So if you don't like books, or if you don't have books, you can also find Swami's messages through YouTube through these. Swami actually speaking in the discourse.
Yeah, wonderful ideas. Yeah, all of you. I think it's been so meaningful. And unless anybody has some comments to offer, I think Falguni has given us a link. Yeah, so that's a YouTube channel. What is that, Falguni?
That's actually what Brother Tom had said. The bhajan we sing, I am God, I'm not different from God. So this is just an example of what Aarti was sharing, that if people use this mode of reading, then there are these short videos which could give us a message for the day.
I mean, this in itself, what you've done is an act of goodness, is of seva. You put the link for us, So it's this spontaneous. There's no one moment, anytime and every time is a good time to serve. So you showed this with your example, and all of you. And we can be inspired when I see all your lives and what you're doing, and the immense work that Sarita is investing in taking care of animals and sick and those in disasters, and going in spite of COVID and trying to save them. So these are from the whole range. And in Baba's eyes, nothing is too big or too small. So thank you so much. And the next slide. Are you all able to hear me? Am I clear enough?
Yes, you are very clear.
Okay. Loud? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Who would like to read the last commitment?
I can read it.
Okay, Amine, thank you. Welcome back. We were missing you. So happy to have you return to us.
Yes, Ira. For me, the same. Always see Sai in everyone, everything, and everywhere. Practicing awareness of Sai's presence in all of creation, people, animals, and nature, so that we recognize him as the very basis of creation. Who is hardest for me to see Sai in? But I cannot see what is the question.
It means which person that is not likable to you, and it's difficult for you to see Sai in that individual. Somebody who's hurt you, somebody upset you, and that's what it means. Who is the hardest for me to see Sai in? Somebody who you cannot forgive.
Yeah. You have to be able to forgive and forget. Yeah. And yeah.
Correct. And to this one point that you all are talking about forgiveness, a very important aspect that I've been reading in this connection with Swami and all our other scriptures too. I think the point of repentance, while we are very grateful and we express gratitude to others, we also have to have the practice of the sadhana of repentance, because all this comes within that. And although we try to live as pure souls, but there are times and moments of thoughtlessness or little reckless or indifference or didn't find the time. So I believe that good as we try to be, we still need to do this repentance, which can be a very, very high purification practice. And it goes with all of this. Any comments from you, Raj?
Well, to be honest, I mean, seeing Sai is easy. I mean, in terms of theoretical sense, like, okay, I can give talk saying, yes, I see Sai in everyone. But in the practicality, if I'm making a judgment, I'm not liking what that person said, then it's difficult to see Sai. So I would say hardest person to see Sai is in my spouse.
Be too honest and too humble with yourself, but we all hold you in very high esteem and go with that idea. Okay. Let that be your guiding star.
Sayam, I think the hardest is the person that you are having the most. And I think what Uncle says makes sense because marriage, Swami says, is actually based on karma and nothing else. And it's not a Bollywood movie. And so when you look at it from the lens that Swami has, you are working out karma with that person. And two people have different vasanas, different points of view. There's like sandpaper, he gives the example that they kind of are like rough with each other, and the whole point is to soften that roughness. That's the whole point of this. That's why the relationship is there, to work that out. And so it may not be a spouse; it can be like your boss. I think when you feel hurt, when you have become hurt by someone, or that person has rejected you in some way, at that moment it's very hard to see Sai in that person. But if you take a step back and do a lot of reflection and see that person as, hey, that person has their own childhood trauma, that person has been raised other ways, and that's why they are behaving this way. And when people are mean, they actually are very hurt inside. Like if I go deep and deep and I just like analyze people that way, like one by one. Like I have a cousin who was not so nice to me, and I went to her wedding in India, and she really had no interest in me being there, and it was just a mess. Like when she came here to US, she thought I did nothing for her, and like I was like, it was very hard for me to see Sai.
कल तुम 10 बजे जाओगे?
And
Yeah.
but then when I hear about her difficulties, or
Trust you Monday,
I don't know, like
Monday,
maybe she just
web
thinks
page
that
and then I have to meet with that client.
her
Very fun.
perspective is not right, or they just don't know. It's like 6 blind men looking at an elephant. Everyone is blind. Everyone has their own trauma. And then I can just step back and say, oh, let it go. It's very hard to see Sai in that person, but it requires a lot of practice. In the light meditation, there is a part where they say to give light to those who you perceive are not being good to you. So I think maybe I should make a list of people like that, and then send light to them, send love to them. I'm sorry I'm waiting too long, but there was a story of Phyllis Crystal when she was hijacked on an airplane, and she could not send, like, the hijackers, they made her very scared, but the thought came to her to send them love and just use her body as an instrument where Swami's love is being sent to them. And maybe in that process, you can one day see Sai in them too. And another thing is, my dad always says that sometimes those who really push your buttons, they're teaching you forbearance, they're teaching you to let go of your ego a little bit. So sometimes your friends those enemies are your best friends. And one day you might have gratitude for what they taught you. Sarah?
Thank you. Thank you for sharing aspects of your own life and relationships, and we learn from you, and truly, Arti, it's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
You are, pouring out so much love to the whole world, and we have to learn from you.
Thank
And
you.
it's
Can I say one thing? Yeah. Sairam, yeah. Yeah,
Just
just
wanted to add, because what Archie said, it's true for the person, if it's bad to you, but when I think about, I just, as I told you at the beginning, I came from Iran, and when I see these people in the government and how they kill all these young people, how can it's so hard for me to see Sai in them, this person, that, sometimes you cannot, they're evil, some people are, how, I'm asking how you can see Sai in the people like that. That's a question.
I'd like to address that question. I live not that far from Minneapolis, and it's very strong in the field here.
Yeah.
And what I've been working with is what Martin Luther King said about Jesus' teaching about love the enemy. And Martin Luther King was very clear on how you do that. And number one, you take a deep inventory of yourself. And then number two, he says, is find something good in the enemy. Well, how can you find something good in someone who murdered someone? But the ultimate answer is that murderer, the enemy, whatever form it takes, is also a child of God, also a divine creation, essentially. The behaviors are wretched, are awful, but the being in there, like we say, deep down, is a divine manifestation of God, just like all of creation. So when we flip to that, then the compassion can start to well up, like it's been said earlier, like, oh, they had a traumatic childhood, or they've been abused, or they still need a lot of love. Not that they get away scot free. They need,
Yeah.
they don't. We don't need to punish them with our lack of love. We can still love them.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Tommy, you're very right, and I think it links up partly with what, very much so with what Arati said about karma, of that person's karma, our karma, and the two interacting together, and why we come across that person is also sometimes good for our own evolution. And that's why in Buddhism it said that the person who hurts you, revere them because they are your teachers. They are your best teachers also, because we learn from them and we learn not to be like them. And there is one little quotation I want to say. It says, never make enemies with anyone. Of course, I'm not talking of your Iranian regime, but people in our own lives too. That you never know when your enemy, as you said earlier also, can be your friend and comes to your help. So it's not that we are breaking ties or staying aloof or distant and just seeing them as distant children apart. They can be one day the very people who come to your support in your times of crisis, and it happens often. So we can't look into the future, but that's a reality. And I see there is a nice quote from Falguni: when we feel helpless, Swami says to remember this. Yeah. And you put the whole thing, Falguni. Do you want to very quickly read it out? Because, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just put Hal Honing's bhajan in it, the one that we read in the beginning.
Yeah, that we said.
Feel very helpless.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do but then prayers and all go to Swami.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Now
Thank you.
to the last section.
Okay. Can I just say one thing? So, about the spouse, that Swami talks, Swami joke, saying that, wife is very invited. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. The Swami joked, wife is very invited forever. Then immediately turned around saying, it's wisdom invited forever. Teach us patience and seeing the other point of view. That's all I want to say. Sadhana.
Thank you. Okay, can we, Anja, next slide. Okay, going inward, the practice of introspection. True spirituality requires going inward. Introspection is not self-judgment, but self-illumination. And that's why sometimes we say, oh, we're thinking so much about ourselves and how we could be better. We're not the best form and the best standards that we can be judged by. But this very process of introspection with repentance leads to self-illumination. So, and then of course, here the last reflection is, do I observe my mind or am I driven by it? And here comes the mind clutter, the mind chatter, what Swami says, the monkey mind. But we go above that, and all these practices help us. Any comments? Or can we go on to the next slide? Arati, could you read that? Sarita?
Sure. The four commitments as a living compass. These four commitments guide us through confusion, success, and failure, and a deep understanding of spirituality. A living compass toward truth, love, and unity. Reflection. Do I trust this compass enough to follow it?
Your observations, Sarita?
Thank you, Tom, for joining. I think it's where we started at the beginning, that we need some sort of discipline in our life, which will guide us through all the ups and downs of life, and also lead us to the realization of the Atma, or our true self.
Yeah, thank you. And I think the concluding slide.
Next slide.
Oh, this is spirituality, just a symbolic representation. There's some little picture, colors, sounds, etc. Okay, next one. That's a nice quote. Faith. Yes, that's a beautiful reflection. Can you read it out? And it goes very well with the slide. Let me read out the slide. Be sincere yourself. Be aware of him who is the eternal witness. He sees and knows all. That is a very good reminder, a good yardstick. And Faith, can we hear from you?
Oops. Sorry, I didn't want to take up more time. Thank you. I try to remember and see that Sai, God, is in everyone. It seems that people are sometimes not aware of the divine goodness within them due to their circumstances. It's really the same as what Arti said. Those who have been treated cruelly, they may not know another way of life. That's their reality. So let's still remember that they are embodiments of God, and they are embodiments of divine love, and pray to be able to see that in them, though we may choose not to be in their company. Thank you.
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, this last line, we may not choose to be in their company. Is that what Swami says, or it's your personal reflection?
Well,
I'd like to learn from you.
Yes, it is my personal reflection, but Swami has said, I want to make sure I have this quote correct. He said, you have two options in relationships, two choices. You can love and serve, or you can leave alone. That doesn't mean do harm to anyone, but you do have that option of staying away. And yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyway, I think we've almost come to the end. We can just see the last slide, and thanks, Swami. And then liberation unfolds moment by moment through sincerity, awareness, and love. If I lived these four commitments sincerely, how would my inner world change? We become love in action and divinity in every breath. I think this is the answer, and it's a good conclusion. So, I think on behalf of Raj and myself, Raj, do you want to comment on anything, or we can conclude?
I don't know, please conclude. It's already, I think we passed our time. We passed our time, let's conclude. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for everyone.